Unmute myself. Hi, good afternoon, guys. Thank you for joining in on today's webinar. Who do we have online so far? Let's see. So bear with me. Who do we have online? Hi, good afternoon, guys. Sorry, I'm just getting myself sorted. Apologies for if I'm looking a bit baffled and confused. I'm just trying to get this sorted. Thank you for joining in. And I am delighted to be hosting today's webinar. And just bear with me for a second. I'm just going to, just bear with me for a second. So we have 19 people so far. For the benefit of those who don't know me, my name is Oris Ikomi, and I am the project lead at Elevation Networks. And I'm leading on the Civil Service Fast Stream and Diversity Internship Program at Elevation Networks. There's working with interested candidates and providing coordinating and obviously in the whole program support, providing training support and the webinar and other forms of support to ensure that you all have as much support as possible with your application. And the overall goal is to ensure that you put in a successful application. So I am delighted to be hosting today's session. And before we get started, I'm just going to do a run through of what is expected of us today. But before doing so, guys, I'm just going to put the video on hold. Bear with me for a second. I'm just going to pause my mic and need to remove the board behind me, just in case it contains sensitive information. Just bear with me shortly. Sincere apologies, guys. Thanks for letting me know. Oh my word, sorry, I was talking to myself. Sorry, I accidentally muted my mic. So what I was saying, I was just doing a quick run through of how today's webinar is going to go. Sincere apologies, guys. Just going to do a quick run through how today's session is going to go. So I will be covering going through what the civil service is, what the civil service is looking for, what the civil service fast stream and diversity internship program are, and just as well as looking at the assessment center in terms of what are the core competencies, what are they looking for, what would you be tested against. The overall objective of today is to ensure that you are well informed and have as much information as possible to help you put in a successful application. And at the end, we'll be going through some feedback survey. And during the presentation, I will also be running a few online polls just to make it more engaging, interactive, and get you guys involved as well. I think it's always good. So I'm sure you don't want to be, it just breaks up you listening to me for an hour or so. And so I'm expecting that today's session will last for about an hour and a half. I mean, last Wednesday, we went up to 2 hours. So again, you just never know. I think it depends on the questions. The main reason is because of the questions that people had. So which is good. It means that people actually are interested and want to find as much information as possible. And unfortunately, guys, I was meant to have a civil service, one of the interns join in today's webinar. But unfortunately, they were unable to do so. So sincere apologies. However, if you have already signed up to the evening with the civil service fast stream and interns next Friday, you will get the chance to meet with the current fast streamers and former interns. Or if you have signed up to the Insight Days on the 20th or the 21st of September, you will get the chance to also meet with the interns and the civil service fast stream. Sorry, I'm just reading a note. So you also get a chance to actually meet with the interns and fast streamers. And bear with me, guys. I've just received a note saying that there is someone here physically at the office for the webinar. So sincere apologies. I'm just going to put this on. I know this is not ideal, so sincere apologies, guys. I'm just going to put this on hold for a second whilst I go check to find out who it is. So my sincere apologies. I hope you all stay behind. Again, apologize in advance, and I'll be back with you in less than a minute. Hi guys, I'm back. Sincere apologies again. I know that's not ideal, but I sincerely appreciate your understanding about that. I just had someone who came down to the office thinking it was going to be a face-to-face meeting. So sincere apologies. As I was saying, for the benefit of those who are just joining us, my name is Oris Ikomi, and I'm the Elevation Network project lead on the Fast Stream and Diversity Internship Program. So my aim is to ensure that you all have as much information as possible, are well informed about the Civil Service Fast Stream, and ensure that you put in a successful application, because our passion and our goal is to ensure that we give you the best possible chance to have a successful application for the Civil Service Fast Stream. and Diversity Internship Program. Just a quick run through. So how today's going to go, I'm going to go through about 22 slides. So again, it's quite lengthy, guys, but it's all vital information. I'll try and go through the slides as quickly as possible so we don't spend too much time on the slides. And at the end, so I would suggest to save your questions till the end. And if you look at the bottom of your screen, guys, you notice there's a Q&A tab. So if you have any questions, can I suggest that you ask your questions via the Q&A button? And I'll say save your questions till the end, guys. So just to avoid so there's a consistent flow during the presentation. So if you have any questions, leave it till the end, and I will make sure we go through every question. And so I'm going to get started. So I'm just going to share the slides with you. And I will put my video on so you can focus and concentrate on the slide. So as you already know, today's webinar is about the Civil Service Fast Stream and Diversity Internship Program. So thank you to everyone who have so far expressed an interest. And as I said earlier, we are so excited and looking forward to working with you and supporting you with your application form. So I hear some of you asking, so what is the Civil Service Fast Stream and Diversity Internship Program? I am sure some of you have had the chance to look through the brochures that have been sent out so far and some of the additional links, or perhaps some of you may have actually gone onto the faststream.gov.uk website to sort of do an in-depth research about the civil service program. And so today's webinar is to give you as much understanding about the program as possible. So before we move any further, so I would like to talk about Elevation Networks in terms of who we are and what we do. So Elevation Networks, we are a multi-award winning youth employment charity providing opportunities and connecting talents and graduates like yourselves with top employers such as the civil service. So our partnership with the civil service is an example of the work that we do to provide individuals from underrepresented background, from low socioeconomic background, either people from not in education or training, connecting them with opportunities and connecting them with top employers looking for outstanding talents like yourselves. And we also focus on personal and leadership development. So we provide training, support, mentoring to upskill and develop the talents that we work with on a regular basis. And what we're doing now with the civil service is an example of how we're supporting you with your application. And we will be hosting a number of activities. For example, we have the Insight Day coming up soon, and we have another event next week, Friday, called An Evening with the Fast Stream. And we'll be having mock assessment days and telephone and interview training days just to prep you with your civil service application form. So that's in a nutshell what we do. Elevation Networks has been going on since, I believe, coming up to 10 years now, since 2008-9. So, and providing opportunities for students and graduates. And moving forward, before we move any further with the presentation, so I'm going to play a quick video which will give you a bit more information about the Civil Service Fast Stream program. So bear with me, I'm just going to make sure this is connected properly so you can hear. So let me know if you can hear me, guys, if you can hear the sound in the video.
For the public good.
So I'm going to start that again to understand
the civil service affects all parts of daily life, from things like transport and education to other things like the NHS. The work civil servants do can affect the country and make a positive difference for the public good, which means that to many, we're important. Civil service work is often high profile and prestigious. As soon as you join the civil service, you'll be given responsibility. Your work could appear in newspapers, affect policy, and be broadcast up and down the UK. And it's this importance of civil service work that makes it challenging and engaging. For example, did you know the civil service is creative? We are made up of some of the brightest, most creative minds in the country, continuously dedicated to thinking of new ways to address the complex issues we face as a nation. It also offers choice. Employing 420,000 people all over the country, we offer a wide range of roles and opportunities within services such as finance, diplomacy, health, science and technology. For example, each year through our Fast Stream programme, the civil service recruits up to 1,000 graduates who, because of the variety of roles we offer, are able to follow a specialism of their choice and pursue their passions. We're national. No, make that international, i.e. we're not just based in Westminster. There are hundreds of offices up and down the UK and even across the world for those working in diplomacy and international development. We are also diverse. As British society changes, the civil service is rising to the challenge of changing with it, evolving to become more diverse and more representative of the society that it serves. That's why we look to recruit from a different range of backgrounds and provide every candidate with equal opportunity to excel. To support this, our workforce currently looks like this. Simply, we want to remove barriers and ensure that the best people progress irrespective of who they are. Because ultimately, we're open-minded. This means that when we assess you, we look at you as a person as well as your experience and qualifications. For example, our Fast Stream programme accepts candidates with a 2-2 degree from any subject and from any university. However, it's also not necessary to have a degree if you're an existing civil servant. Our Fast Track Apprenticeship scheme is currently open to up to 500 school leavers. Because in our mind, everyone has the potential to make a difference. So whichever way appeals to you, there are numerous paths to progress through the civil service to build your career. For more information on the Fast Stream and careers in the civil service, please visit gov.uk/faststream.
I hope you found that useful. So that gives you a bit of an information about the civil service Fast Stream and Diversity Internship Program. And just to go, yes, we can hear, fantastic. So I'm going to go into, so obviously you know that there are two parts of the program. There is the civil service Fast Stream and there is the Diversity Internship Program. So I'm going to explain the difference between both programs. So the civil service Fast Stream, that's in essence the civil service graduate program, but it's also open to recent grads or people who have been working and looking to change careers. So either working in different industries or sectors and have a passion and interest to work within the civil service. So that's the main sort of program that the civil service run every year to recruit and bring into embed, new talents such as yourselves. And that's open to, the Fast Stream is open to recent grad, is open to graduates, recent grads, and professionals. Also open to people who have been working within the civil service and interested in, changing to different departments within the civil service. And the Diversity Internship Program. So the best way I would explain the Diversity Internship Program is a fast route into the civil service. So you get a chance to work on the Early Diversity Internship Program or the Summer Diversity Internship Program. The difference in both is the Early Diversity Internship Program is for first year undergraduates. It's a chance for them to learn and work within, the chance to actually work within the government department for a week to learn more about the civil service and understand what the civil service is about. Whereas the Summer Diversity Internship Program is a development program offering individuals from low socioeconomic background and underrepresented background to to have an access and opportunity to work within the government departments in the civil service, and you get to work across different departments on the Summer Diversity Internship Program. The Early Diversity Internship Programs, that's for first-year students, and that starts in the spring, so most likely during April, whereas the Summer Diversity Internship Program starts usually June to July. So that's the difference between both programs. And if I may add, the Fast Stream, which is for graduates and recent grads, is also a leadership development program. So how the civil service describes it is, see it more as a leadership development program to allow you to develop your skills, develop yourselves, and to, and enable you and give you a platform to be able to progress into a senior leadership role within the civil service. So that's the best way I would describe the Fast Stream program. So that's a bit about the programs, so the Fast Stream and the Diversity Internship Program, which splits into the Early Diversity Internship Program and the Summer Diversity Internship Program. I'm moving on to the next slide. So as I've already gone in detail, explaining what the Diversity Internship Program is, so now we're going to look at who can apply. Some of you may have already come across these details in the brochures that's been sent out. So I'm just going through this again, just in case there are people who haven't had a chance to see the brochures just yet. And so in terms of who can apply, as I said earlier, the EDIP is for first-year undergrad, and the Summer Diversity Internship Program is open to second and third-year students. And it is also open to graduates or recent grads who are, so long as you've either still studying with the SDIP, so long as you're still studying, either be on a postgraduate or in your final year, you can still apply for the SDIP. Most people apply for SDIP first, and then they go on to apply for the Fast Stream, because the SDIP, the idea behind it is to give individuals the chance to actually gain an insight into the civil service before applying for the Fast Stream program. And what is good about this program as well is there's a chance to gain a fast pass onto the Fast Stream program, which I will cover in the next slide. I hope this is clear so far. And to be eligible for both programs, you need a minimum of 2.2, either expected or awarded in any degree subject. This is for the EDIP and SDIP program. And you need to be from a Black, Asian, minority, ethnic, or from a socially or economically disadvantaged background to be eligible for the EDIP and SDIP program. And it's also open to candidates with a disability, either physically or mental disability. So that's a bit about who can apply for the Early Diversity and Summer Diversity Internship Program. Before I move on to the next slide, guys, I'm just going to come back onto the screen, and we're going to play a little game that I mentioned earlier. We're going to do an online poll. Let me stop sharing my screen. I'm back, guys. Hello again. I'm still here. So we're going to play a quick online poll game. So it's about true or false. So the whole idea is to see how much you understand. Just make it a bit interactive and get to see how much you understand about the civil service. So I'm going to launch the first question. So we have about 35 seconds to vote on these guys. So true or false? The civil service is ranked amongst the top 5 graduate recruiters in the UK. So I'd like to start voting, guys. So far we have 20 people who have voted. Fantastic. But a few, got about 10 more seconds to go. So we need about 4 more people to yet to vote. We have 5 more seconds. 3, 2, 1, 0. That is the end of our poll. So let me share the result with you. So from that, it sounds like most people already know the answer to this, which I've pretty much given away. So 93% of you voted that the answer is true, and 7% voted that it's false. And I am sorry, guys, the guys who voted false, unfortunately, you got it wrong. The civil service is ranked amongst the top 5 graduate recruiters in the UK. And that's fantastic, because obviously, as an organization, I feel the civil service sometimes isn't often understood as or seen as a a reputable organization in comparison to a lot of the private sector organizations like the banking sector and so on and so forth. So you'd be delighted to know that the civil service is ranked amongst the top 5 graduate recruiters. So if you do want to work at the civil service, or either through the diversity internship program or the fast stream, you can proudly say that you are working for one of the UK's top 5 graduate recruiters. So that's a nice accolade to have as a, in terms of the reputation of the organization that you're working with. So I'm going to now go back onto the slide. So good to see that most people on this, have done a bit of detailed research about the civil service to understand how highly they're ranked in terms of like graduate recruitment. So I'm going to stop sharing the results and move back to the presentation. So back to sharing my screen. So now we've gone through who can apply for the early diversity internship program and the summer diversity internship program. So we're now going to look at the selection process. What I love about this is that it's quite a relatively straightforward selection process for the early and summer diversity internship program. And the first stage is an online test, and you'll be delighted to know that there is no numerical or verbal reasoning test. So this is purely based on a situational judgment test and looking at behavioral test. So the whole idea behind the test is to look at how measuring your ability to judge different situations. Again, I'm sure you'd appreciate the nature of work that the civil service is, because as a civil servant or as a fast streamer, or an EDIP or SDIP, you'll be working on highly sensitive information. You're representing the work you do is not just affecting 1 or 2 people, it's affecting millions of lives of people, millions of lives in the UK. So the idea behind this test is just to test against your ability to be able to, how you judge situation, focusing on factual information, focusing on, accurate information. So that's the whole idea and essence behind the test. And if you are successful, you then be shortlisted for the telephone interview, which will be taking place next year, February to March. So that gives you an insight into the recruitment and selection process. Again, some of you would have seen this in the brochures that has been sent out already. And some key information for you to be aware of on the diversity internship program, as I mentioned earlier, either you're predicted or been awarded a 2-2 in any discipline. So it's good, it doesn't matter whether you study. So as long as you have a minimum of a 2-2, you will be eligible to apply for the diversity internship program. And I mentioned briefly earlier about the fast pass. So what the fast pass is in essence, this is only applicable to people who will be going on the summer diversity internship program. So this is if you have a good appraisal and satisfactory appraisal from your line manager, or the person, your point of contact within your departmental lead within the civil service during your program, you will be awarded with a fast pass. And what this means that you then be exempted and put straight through. That's if you do choose to apply for the fast stream, you'll be put straight through to the assessment center. So you bypass some of the early rounds of the application process. So this is a good thing again for people who want to do the SDIP first of all before applying for the fast stream program. And a keynote for those doing the early diversity program, it is a 1-week expenses paid internship, and it's going to be in London. So it's London based only. And for the SDIP, which is the Summer Diversity Internship Program, is a 6 to 9 weeks paid internship program. So these are some of the key informations for you to be aware of. So now we're now going to go on to the fast stream program. So as I said earlier, the fast stream is a leadership, see it as a leadership development program, giving you an opportunity to progress and become a senior leader within the civil service, and to also develop yourself, both personally and professionally. In terms of who can apply for the fast stream program, you have to be either currently in your final year, or a graduate, or recently graduated. And again, good thing about the fast track program is there is no age limit, so you can apply irrespective of your age. There's no barriers to your age. So this, again, people who can apply for the fast track program. Again, you can be either a postgraduate as well as you know, just a recent grad. So this is, again, just who can apply for the fast track program. So now we've gone through what the civil service is and what the diversity internship program is and what the fast track program is. We're now going to look at what is the civil service looking for. And I'm sure this is something that most of you have probably been thinking about, or have perhaps, you know, gone into research online to find out more about what the civil service is looking for. So I'm now going to go through this in depth. So feel free, guys, to take a note. But alternatively, I am also going to be sending out the slides to everyone. So if you don't get a chance to take down notes, it's absolutely fine. You will receive the slide, and we'll be sending out the video link from this webinar. Will be sent out to you as well, so you get to see and so you get to replay it at your own convenience. So in terms of what the civil service is looking for, so the key thing to note with the assessment centers or the different tests or the different areas that you've measured against, these are the three key areas for you to note or to focus on. And the first one being setting directions. So every individual who works at the civil service are tested against these core competencies. So every individual who works for the government or works for the civil service are tested using the same metrics. And again, the reason behind these metrics is to ensure that they are onboarding the right candidates for the roles. Again, bear in mind the sensitive nature of the civil service and the high profile nature of the role in itself. So as fast streamers, as civil servants, you will be responsible, for writing policy document or making contributions to policy documents, which ministers used to, for example, you see ministers on TV reading a policy brief. So these are put together by civil servants or fast streamers. So again, due to the nature of these roles or of the nature of the work that civil service does, this is why they have these key metrics to ensure that they are onboarding the right talent and the right individuals to the civil service. So the first one is setting directions. So again, what this means is in essence about looking at looking at individuals who look at the focus on the bigger picture. So we're testing against your ability to see the big picture and have an in-depth understanding and knowledge of how your role fits with and supports the organizational objectives and the wider public needs and national interest. So you can imagine, as a fast streamer, you may think that, my role is not so important. However, what you do feeds into the wider objective of the government, the wider objective of the civil service. So they want to see people who think about the broad picture, who look at the things from a big picture perspective. So this is something you need to be aware of. So it's for all staff, it's about focusing your contribution on activities which will meet the civil service goals and deliver the greatest result for the public. And secondly, it's about changing and improving. So what this means in essence is about, people who are effective in this area take initiatives. It's about using your initiative. It's about being innovative. It's about seeking out opportunities to create effective change. Again, you would appreciate the nature of the civil service that there's a lot of changes. There's a lot of you can never predict what will happen. Tomorrow, for example, in America, you have the recent Storm Harvey. So again, this changed the nature of the work of the civil service in America. So again, as a fast streamer or as a civil servant, it's about being able to adapt to change. It's about being able to bring solutions to problems. It's about looking at ways to improve what's been done previously and see how things can be done better. That's an area that they will be focusing on at the assessment day, and also throughout the duration of the application. So for example, the online registration form and so on. So this area that focuses on staff who is all about learning from what, as I said earlier, what has worked as well as what has not worked, and being open to change and improvement and working smarter in a more focused way. And then thirdly, making effective decisions. This basically is about using sound judgment, evidence, and knowledge to arrive at an accurate, expert, and professional decisions and advice. So again, as I said earlier, civil servants and fast streamers are responsible for influencing or contributing to policy documents. So it's essential that as a fast streamer that, you're able to show sound judgment and, your ability to be able to use evidence and knowledge to arrive at an accurate, expert, professional decision, not being subjective, but being objective. What I mean by that is, as it says on here, as I've just mentioned to you just a minute ago, is about using data and information to make judgment and not using your own opinion, which sometimes is needed. But again, due to the nature of the role, it's about using facts and figures and accurate figures to come to a conclusion. So it's about being careful to be thoughtful about the use and protection of government and public information to ensure it is handled securely and with care. And then moving on from that, so the next area that the civil service will focus on is engaging people. So again, in any form of working environment, it's about you're going to work with people from different backgrounds, different different walks of life, and working with people at different levels. So from senior management to ministers to perhaps even work with other diplomats from other countries. So the civil service will test you against your ability to engage with people from different walks of background. So looking at focusing on areas such as communication and your ability to lead. So leading and communicating, that looks at your effectiveness, is about showing pride and passion for the public service, communicating purpose and direction with clarity, integrity, and enthusiasm. As a civil servant, your job in essence is about serving the public. So it's vital that that civil servants and fast streamers are able to communicate the work and the role of the civil service in a positive manner. So on the day of the assessment center, you will be tested against your ability to communicate in a positive and effective manner, as well as how you lead yourself effectively, and collaborating and partnering. So this looks at people who are team players. Again, some of you who are currently, you may have had a chance to work in a group, like do group works at university. The whole essence behind it is actually preparing you for when you start working to be comfortable, so working in a team, working with other people. So you'll be looking at the civil service will be looking at your ability to be a team player and working with others. So it's about being a collaborator, thinking about working in a collaborative way, and not just being about me, all about me, but it's about thinking about, okay, how can I be collaborative? So on the day of the assessment center, it's about looking at how these are things to bear in mind, that these are things that they'll be judging you against, these are the things that they'll be looking at. So it's essential to bear these things in mind that, okay, when I'm at the assessment center, I need to focus on how am I going to be a team player? How am I going to collaborate with other people? How am I going to share information appropriately and build in supportive, trusting, and professional relationship with colleagues and a wide range of people within and outside the civil service? So these are things for you to be aware of. And finally, it's also building the capability for all, basically. And what this means is about being, having a strong focus and on continuous learning for oneself, others, and the organization. So it's about looking at how you're developing yourself, being that, looking at ways to continuously improve yourself, improve the organization, improve processes. It's about, in essence, you bringing ideas and bringing being a solution oriented in terms of thinking ways that you can actually improve what's being done currently. So it's about being a team player, thinking from a solution driven perspective, and saying these are something to bear in mind in terms of what you'll be judged against at the assessment day. So now we've looked at setting directions, which more focus on the strategic side of things. We've looked at engaging people, and now let's look at delivering results. So that looks at 4 areas. So the first is about managing a quality service. Again, as a civil servant, the work you do is highly critical, is highly important. So you would test against your ability to deliver to deliver value for money, because the nature of your work is quite important. So looking at how you deliver efficiently, effectively, and using taxpayers' money in the delivery of public service. Again, next phase is about delivering at pace. It's about looking at your ability to be able to deliver under pressure. Again, it's quite a high, fast-paced environment, and things change daily. It's about being able to adapt and being able to, again, still maintaining the ability to make accurate decisions using, factual data to make decisions in a short space of time. So these are things. The reason why this is so essential for you to know this now is so at least you know that on the assessment day, with the E-tray exercise, which I'm going to talk about later on, and with the online test, at least it allows you to know what to focus on. So because sometimes the mind may make us believe that, oh no, we're not good enough, or we don't have the ability, but at least knowing that you're being judged less on your ability to do the work, but also, but however, you're being judged on certain characteristics, you know, that that the civil service deem as, you know, someone who, these are the qualities that they look for in terms of what they deem as an effective or a good civil servant. So it's important to bear in mind that so long as you can demonstrate these things throughout the process, you'll stand a good chance of being successful with your application. And looking at, you know, delivery, we'll talk about delivering value for money and achieving, in terms of achieving commercial outcomes, again, it's about, you know, being able to, you'll be working at, you know, you'll be working at different types of projects and so on and so forth. It's about being able to, you know, demonstrate sound commercial judgment in terms of when it comes to using the resources at your disposal, for example, like taxpayers' money, use it to generate the best return on investment. So it's about being able to think in a commercial way. Again, the civil service do not expect you to have, you know, years of experience to be successful at the assessment day. So what they expect of you is to, you know, some of you, one of the advice that some of the fast streamers who have joined the previous webinars have given, one advice that they gave was, you know, don't worry so much if you haven't had work experience. Use your normal day-to-day life experience at the assessment center. You know, look at, if you have been involved in a society at university, or ran projects, or even worked part-time, or worked in retail, you know, you can use those experiences and relate it to see how you demonstrated in the bigger picture, how you demonstrated, you know, in terms of adapting to changing and making improvements to an organization that you've previously worked at, or how you made improvements to your society, for example. So don't feel like you have to have had many years of work experience. And I know that there are going to be people applying for the fast stream role in particular who have worked for many years. Again, you know, that should not be a put off, because if you do make it to the assessment center, you're there because you deserve to be there, just the way that they also deserve to be there. So it's about being able to, so long as you can actually prepare yourself in advance and demonstrate ways that you've utilized or demonstrated or showed these attributes in real life, then I think you'll stand a good chance. Again, it's about being confident in yourself and in your ability. So moving on to the next, we're going back to the previous slide. So now we've looked at what the civil service are looking for. So I'm just going to quickly run through this slide, so looking at the different streams and disciplines within that. This is particularly on the fast stream program. So for those interested in the summer diversity and early diversity, you will not be applying to streams. Instead, you'll be applying to, you'll be posted across different departments within the civil service. So this is only for people who are looking to apply for the fast stream program. There are up to 15 streams on the fast stream program, and these are the different breakdowns. So again, this is all listed in the brochures that has been sent out. However, if you haven't received the brochure, do let us know, or check your spam or junk email for emails from campus@elevationnetworks.org for the brochures. Again, if you want to take down notes, feel free to do so quickly. But again, like I said, you know, don't worry if you haven't had the chance to take down notes from what I'm saying so far. I will be sending out the slide. So don't worry so much about taking notes from the slides, but just take notes about what I'm saying, because you will receive the slide anyway. So I'm just going to move on to the next slide now. But before doing so, I think it's time for a new poll. So I'm going to stop sharing this screen and come back on. Hey, I'm here. So let's have another go with the second. Oh, so this is another true or false. So I've launched it now. So the fast streamers have to wait 4 years before being promoted. So what do you say to that? Is that true or false? So I say we have about another 10 seconds to go with that. interesting. Okay, so is that it? Anyone want to cast the final vote before we end? Nope, doesn't look like it. Okay, so I'm going to end that now. End poll. So let me launch the results. So 80% of you said false and 20% of you said true. Oh, so I can reveal that the answer to that is, drum roll, it is false. So those of you who voted false, you are absolutely correct. So that you can, as a fast streamer, you can move up so long as your direct manager, whoever's managing you on the fast stream program, believes that moving up will support you in terms of your support you in your fast stream, in your continuous development within the fast stream program. So so again, you don't have to have been there for up to 4 years to be promoted. So this is a good thing to know, to be aware of. Again, so again, there's an incentive, so you know that there is a chance to progress even before the end of your fast stream program. So I think this is a really good incentive and something really good to be aware of. So I'm now going to end this and continue with the slide. Before I move any further, guys, I hope this has been useful to you guys so far. It'd be good to just hear your comments. Is this been useful? Are you learning? Is it answering your questions? Is your expectation being met? So please let me know. Again, let's reserve questions till the end. But this is just about to know if your expectations are being met. Oh, someone said very excited. That is good, always good to know. So extremely useful so far. Anisha said extremely useful. I'm pleased to hear that. And Caden Bills, who just joined us not too long ago, he said, I've missed the beginning of this. Can you give me a recap? Caden, don't worry. This has been recorded live on YouTube. So we will send you, I will be sending the link so you'll be able to hear it from the beginning. It's been fab. Marianne, you guys are so kind. You're so kind. Thank you so much. I'm pleased to hear that you're finding it useful. It's very helpful and can't wait to apply. Excellent. I'm pleased to hear that. Okay, so let's continue. I'm now going to go back on the slide. So back to sharing screen, hide myself again. So key things to note for those people interested in the fast stream program: be prepared to be stretched. Actually, this applies to everyone. This applies to the fast stream as well as the diversity internship program. These are the 5 key things to note about the civil service. Most internship programs, especially, or new employees, they tend to think that when they start with a reputable organization, that the perception usually is that, I'm going to be expected to make tea or coffee, or do the paper run and so on, and do the tea run. However, with the civil service, it's completely different. Literally, pardon me, right from the first day, you will be thrown into the deep end. So if you are successful, and our goal is to ensure that you're all successful. I mean, wouldn't it be great if everyone who apply via Elevation Network actually go on to, put in a successful application? Wouldn't that be fantastic? That is our goal, and that's what we want to do, working with you guys to give you the best possible chance to make that a reality. So, as I was saying, you want to, be prepared to be stretched and challenged right from day one. You'll be given responsibility right from day one. There is no, let me take a week or few months to settle in. Right from the minute you start, that's it. You're being thrown right to the deep end. And also, number 3, it's so vital to bear this in mind. The civil service, the second word, the second word says all service. As a civil servant, you are there to serve the wider society. You're there to serve society at a local level, regional level, national level, and internationally. So it's so vital to bear that in mind, that as a civil servant, you're there to serve the wider society. So it's about thinking about how are you going to give back, how are you serving, how are you giving back to your community, how are you giving back to millions of people in the UK, not just in the UK, but also globally, because some of the fast stream programs actually involve being posted overseas, and some of especially the diplomatic fast stream programs. So it's about, again, bearing this in mind if you do apply, and if you do go on to be successful, that is the 3 points in mind. So the next 2 are obviously structure. There is a for example, people who will be working on the human resources stream, there is a chance for, things like the civil service paying for your, continuous and improvement professional development, so your CIPD certificate. I keep forgetting the meaning of this acronym again. Apologies, but I'll suggest, guys, have a look online just to double check the acronym. Continuous and improvement professional development. I believe that's what it stands for. Again, sincere apologies. I keep forgetting the I for some reason. But yeah, so the civil service do cover your things like the training expenses for that. Again, is a place for you to receive further professional development, and there is structure in place to ensure that you're being looked after, you're being supported, and to ensure that you grow as a person. And finally, and this is one of the points that has been mentioned pretty much by every fast trader I've spoken to so far. They've joined the previous webinars. They've spoken highly about the civil service work-life balance. So, for example, you get a chance to work from home sometimes, or you get a chance to do flexi time, or if you've done overtime, you can get a chance to actually reclaim that back to have days off. So it's quite flexible, and they speak highly about the work-life balance. So this is something that's essential to know, that at the civil service, you won't be worked, worked to your feet, but you actually have a chance for you to get a great work-life balance, chance to work from home, take time off, and so on and so forth. I'm having some comments, guys. Just bear with me. I'm going to come back to, that's the word, Chartered Institutes of Personal and Professional Development. Thank you to the person who, that's Peter Boylan. Thank you for sincere apology. I appreciate you sending that. So that's what it stands for, CIPD. Good that we're all working together on this. So I'm going to go back to the screen. So we've gone through. Oh, I think I'm going too fast here. So we've gone through the key things for you to be aware of. And the selection process, again, this should be in the brochures, but I'll quickly go through this. So the selection process, you have the chance to start registering. You can start registering your interest for directly to the civil service. I know you've registered your interest with Elevation Networks. So now the next stage, you can actually start registering your interest before the application officially goes live on the 14th of September. What I'll do, an email will be sent out, if not today, it'll be sent out by Monday with instruction of how you can register or express your interest directly to the civil service, so that once the application goes live, they will send you'll be sent the application directly to your inbox. And the first stage, stage one, is the online test. Again, it's the same online test as the early diversity and summer diversity internship program, looking at so it's more like situation and judgment questionnaire and behavioral questionnaire. And the good thing is candidates with disabilities, will get the chance to be exempted from the, I believe, be exempted from the behavioral questionnaire, so that, which is a good thing. And so something to raise up if you are a candidate with a form of disability, something to raise up with the civil service before your tests, so they can take that into consideration. And the second stage is the online e-tray. So e-tray, what that means basically is an email tray exercise as well. You'll be tested against your ability to be able to, testing you against responding to different types of emails. Some of them will be written, as well as some will just be pre-written emails, to see how you looking at, picking up key information from the email, being able to respond, how you respond to emails on time and the structure. So in essence, it's about more judging people's things like attention to detail, your ability to, be able to, like, especially you're a civil servant, for example, like you go home, come into work, the first thing in the morning, you see there's been a crisis, for example, and you've been asked to brief a minister on the situation. So, you expect to actually, again, use key information or use briefing documents, actually be able to provide information to actually brief the minister before they go either appear in front of a TV camera. So again, the idea behind these tests is to see, it's all linked to the nature of work within the civil service, and to see how you respond to these things. And there is a chance, especially with the situation and judgment test, there is a chance for you to practice in advance. So if you search online, there are, which I will send out a links as well. I know I've been asked by other people to send out just links that I come across, where you can search online for situational and judgment questionnaire. It's quite a common test that most organizations use for you to learn about, to practice, and just to get you into the mindset, into understanding what it looks like in reality, and as well as the online E-tray multiple choice email task. And what I discovered recently, that the video interview for the fast stream program is going to be on the same day as the assessment center day. So which is good. So meaning if you pass the situational judgment test and the online E-tray test, you will go straight to the assessment center before the video interview. So which is, I think, is fantastic. And the video interview, the assessment center is a half-day exercise. You test against your leadership. There will be different forms of exercise testing against leadership, analysis, and working in the group. And for some of the streams, if you are successful, you will be expected to do an additional specialist assessment. So those are the ones that, going back to the previous slide. Sorry, guys. Too fast. And so these ones here that I'm hovering the mouse over, you'll be expected to, if you are applying for any of these streams, there will be an additional specialist assessment for these streams. So that's the selection process in a nutshell. So like I said, I will send out instruction on how to express interest directly to the civil service, and you can practice online for the situational judgment test, as well as if you go on the civil service faststream.gov.uk website and look at the streams that you're interested in, and if you scroll down, there are links on there to practice the E-tray exercise that is relevant to the streams that you are going for. And one thing that I forgot to mention is with the fast stream, you can apply for up to 4 or 5 streams. So you don't have to apply for one, you can apply for up to 4 or 5. And you can apply for the SDIP, the Summer Diversity Internship Program, as well as the fast stream at the same time. So it will not affect, you will not be affected. Again, if you're not successful with the fast stream, for example, at least you have a chance of being successful with the Summer Diversity Internship Program. And then if you are successful with that, and then it gives you a stronger, in a stronger place to apply for the fast stream the following year. That's something to bear in mind. I'm just going to go through the different exercises that you test against at the assessment center. So the first one is analysis exercise, and so there's leadership and group exercise. So this looks at the different exercise in more detail in terms of like, okay, what would you be tested against? So with analysis, for example, it's about looking at how you, as it says in the analyzing information, looking at how you lead yourself, in terms of like working with others. Are you a people person? Are you a collaborative person? And, do you work well in a group? Again, the whole idea, if you can imagine yourself, how would you be when you actually start working at the civil service? Try to be exactly that on the assessment day. So I mentioned earlier about the core competency. So now this is matching the core competencies and the exercises at the assessment center, so you know which areas you'll be tested on. So strategic approach to objectives, for example, that's only going to be in the analysis exercise and the leadership exercise. Analysis and decision making will only be on the group exercise and analysis exercise. So this gives you an idea of what to know which areas you'll be tested against on the day of the assessment center. So the primary objective is to be successful with your online tests, both online tests, the situational judgment test and the E-tray exercise, so that you can find yourself at the assessment center. So those are the key objectives. So again, you will receive the slides. So I'm just going to leave you to actually have a look through this quickly. So with the group exercise, so it's about 35 to 40 minutes. So looking at your ability to make decision making, looking at collaborating, communicating, and tips. Again, the tips with this about carefully read the brief, especially in brief. You'll be given a brief on the day, so it's about being structure the group dialogue, support others, seek consensus. Again, it's about being diplomatic and not thinking that just your opinion has to be heard. And the next one is leadership exercise. Again, it's about looking at things that will be assessed, looking at, again, seeing the broader picture, as I mentioned earlier, being a collaborator, being collaborative, developing your capability, leading yourself, leading others, and communicating effectively. And the tips on this is about being able to manage your time effectively. Again, with the nature of the work that civil servants do, it's important to be able to manage time effectively because things do change, situations do change, be able to adapt to change and be able to manage yourself against those changes. And providing a persuasive verbal brief. Again, you'll be briefing ministers. So it's about making sure that they buy into, especially if you're briefing them on policy changes. It's about being able to be persuasive with your brief and so on and so forth. And then finally, it's being able to use information to respond to questions. And moving on to the analysis exercise, again, this is about looking at this is obviously a written task to be completed on a computer on the day. It's about being able to see the broader picture, decision making, delivering value for money, written communication. Tips on this about being able to draw on a range of quantitative and qualitative data. As I mentioned earlier, being able to use accurate information to make accurate judgment and weighing up issues against given criteria. So again, this whole thing I think it's quite relatively straightforward, so long as you know what's expected of you. So you don't have to go overboard. Just do what's expected of you on the day and leave the rest. So give yourself a good chance to to be successful. So it's about just knowing what's expected and focusing on that, and base your decision on evidence. And before we go on to the top tip, I think, bear with me. I think I've gone a bit. Wait. So, oh no, what have I done? Sorry, guys. The joys of PowerPoint. Before we go on to this, I think we should do another online poll. So I'm going to get the next one. So this is the next true or false. So this is the next one, guys. So the civil service looks at your Facebook page before hiring as a way of vetting candidates. Is this true or false? When we did this on Wednesday, the response was very close. It was pretty much 50-50. So I'm interested to see how people vote on this. We have another 10 seconds then. So we have pretty much identical result as last time. So when we did on Wednesday, we had 51% voted true and 49% voted false. So now we also share results. So 50% of you said this is true and 48% said this is false. And I can tell you that the answer to that is absolutely false. The civil service do not check your Facebook page before hiring you as a way of vetting. So you don't have to worry about hiding your your pictures of you either at your university bar or having a good time. I did exactly that when I was studying, so I know exactly what that feels like. So yeah, you don't have to worry about that. So your service, again, the nature of work, the civil service has to be objective, so it'll be quite controversial to go against a principle that they've set to then vet you based on your Facebook status. So no. Entry into the civil service fast stream and diversity internship program is on merit and assessed by the selection process. It's simply based on merit and nothing to do with your social life. So yeah, that's interesting. We had pretty much a similar response when we did it last time. That's good to see. And so this is the top tip. So I think we're coming up to the end of the slide now. So guys, thanks for your patience for those of you still online. And so these are things to expect. So the first is about don't expect perfection. Again, the civil service, they did not expect you to know it all. They did not expect you to have answers to everything, because the whole lesson is that they're there to support and train and develop you. The program is about developing you as a person as well. So you don't have to know it all. And again, this is so vital, being able to visualize success. Because life is all about how you see yourself will determine exactly what you get. It plays a key role in the outcome of the things that you get out of life. So it's important to actually know that if you do make it to the assessment center, it's a sign that you do deserve to be there. It's not based on luck. It's simply based on merit. It's simply based on what you've demonstrated. It's simply based on you as a person. It's not based on luck. So it's about going there and visualizing, because you want to be there. You want to be working for the civil service. So it's about reminding yourself that, I deserve to be here. I'm here because I deserve it. So it's about being able to visualize that and prepare your mind well in advance. And also it's about keeping a positive and enthusiastic frame of mind and body language. Again, that's so vital. You know, it's going to be it's a half day. It's going to be a lot of people. I'm sure some of you people get tired and so on and so forth. But it's about being being enthusiastic, and and showing making a good impression of yourself on the day. And also, as I said earlier, it's credit is based on actions. It's about what you do on the day, and it's about focusing on the exercise on the day. So this is so vital, because sometimes, especially in exams, I've done this so many times. I find myself answering questions that actually I haven't been asked. So it's so important that you are, your performance on the day, or whatever you're responding on the day, is based on the brief that you've been given. So, and finally, it's also about being authentic. It's about being yourself, whatever that is. It's about just comfortably expressing yourself, because the best chances are, if you express who you truly are and just express your true, natural, authentic self on the day, there is a chance that could actually go a long way in terms of actually convincing the selectors that you are the right fit for the civil service. And one tip that the other fast streamers gave during the webinars that they were involved with, they said, don't try to be the loudest on the day, because that can be off-putting. Usually the perception is assessment days to also be the one who's noticed the most, who makes the most noise and be noticed. However, they strongly advise to avoid that as much as possible. It's about being, again, remember, they're looking at collaborativeness, being able to collaborate with others. So I would say revise, study, and look at the core competency. And you can also go online again, if you search for the civil service competency framework. Again, I will send the links with all this information to everyone. So the civil service core competency framework, that would give you more information about the core competencies, so you know what's being looked for, what they're looking for. They can help to actually prepare yourself in advance. So these are the top tips for during the assessment center. And finally, key dates for you to be aware of. Again, the application officially opens on the 14th of September. And for SDIP and FastStream, it closes on the 25th of October. And for EDIP, it closes on the 8th of, again, it's self-explanatory, it's on the screen. Again, you don't have to worry about taking notes, because I will send that information to everyone. And this Friday, or next Friday, a week from today, we will be having our first face-to-face engagement. I am so excited about this, guys. So there's a chance for me to actually meet some of you in person, and a chance for you guys to also meet with the fast streamers in person and the interns in person. This is going to be held at the Elevation Network office, London office. Again, I believe everyone should have now received the link to the Eventbrite page. Again, guys, sincere apologies. I noticed I sent out an email on Wednesday with information about these events and with the links, but I noticed that I did not, in some sections, I did not include the date and time. I sincerely apologize. So it's the end of the day. I should have checked the email before I sent it out. So I just wanted to acknowledge and apologize for that. If you received an email thinking, why isn't there a date or time? So that's the reason behind this. So sincere apologies. The good thing is you can take, you can note the dates now, or you can wait till you receive the slides. So again, the EDIP and SDIP is for people interested in the diversity internship program, and the fast stream on the 21st is for those interested in the fast stream program. And again, there will be something to note. So if you are applying for fast stream, the assessment center will start early. The assessment center assessment day for fast stream is going to start in October. The date is yet to be confirmed, but bear in mind that if you apply, some of you will have an early assessment center. So this is why we're now bringing the mock assessment training dates to early October. But again, the time and dates hasn't been confirmed. Or again, once that's confirmed, we'll send that to everyone. Right, so in terms of like the mock assessment center dates, as well as for the telephone and video interview training. Those are things to bear in mind as well. So I think that brings us to the end. But before we end, guys, stay with me. Before we start taking questions, I want to say thank you to everyone who have been patient so far and actually stayed up right through to the end. And I really appreciate your time, and I hope you found it useful. I hope you've learned, you've taken something away. And before we go on to Q&A, which I'm sure most of you're all dying for, not dying, but sort of like keen to ask questions, I'm just going to ask you to please bear with me. We're just going to do a quick poll. Can I just get you all to please quickly vote on these questions. I want to get your feedback and thoughts before we move on to the Q&A. So just get you to, it shouldn't take too much of your time. So it's about looking at how would you rate your knowledge of the civil service. Just if you can, vote on each of these questions before we move on to the Q&A, I would highly appreciate that. So again, like I said, I hope you've enjoyed it. I hope you found it useful. So please, let's spend some time, about a minute or two, so to answer these questions, and then we will move on to the Q&A, which I am excited about and I'm super looking forward to. It's going to give you guys some time to complete this section. I would encourage everyone to please fill out this feedback. So it's vital for us to know that you are finding the webinar useful, and also ways that we can make it better for future. Make it better in the future, I mean. Just gonna have a few more minutes to allow people a chance to vote. So I'm going to give it a few more seconds before we start this. So give it another 15 seconds before we start the Q&A. Thank you to everyone who have voted so far. So guys, for those of you who wishes to leave now, please, you're more than welcome to do so. You're more than welcome to end the webinar. For those who want to ask questions, want to stay behind, please do stay behind, and we're going to start the Q&A in approximately 10 seconds. And for those of you who have already, who will be leaving us, I just want to say a massive thank you to everyone. Thank you for taking out the time to stay right through to the end as well. Looking from the feedback, it seems like majority of people actually, you all found it really useful. And I'm just going to officially end the poll now. So I think we have pretty much everyone covered. And I'm now going to appear back on the screen. Hi guys, and let me stop. So again, just finally, 1 second. So for those of you who would like to find out more information about the civil service, go on the faststream.gov.uk website. It has all the information you need to know about the diversity and the diversity internship program, as well as the fast stream program. And if you'd like to find out more about Elevation Networks, you can also visit our website. And if you have any questions, please feel free to drop us an email on campus@elevationnetworks.org. Guys, thank you again. And we are now ready to start taking questions and answers. Bear with me, it's going to stop sharing my screen. Yes, I am back. So questions. So we have I'll give about 30 minutes to go through for Q&A. So it's now 12 minutes past 3. So if we say 15:45, from now to 15:40, that's like just over half an hour for Q&A. That'll be fantastic. So the first question. Okay, someone said I can't come to London. I live far away in North. Is that okay? That's absolutely fine. So someone's saying that they cannot make it to the London event, and guys, on the 8th of September. If you cannot make it, we will be streaming the event live as well on the webinar and YouTube. So it'll be a chance for you to also get to watch the event live if you cannot make it on the 8th. So if you have any questions, guys, please use the Q&A box to ask your question. So the first question is a question from Anisha Kalia. The question is, if you've already graduated, can you still apply for SDIP and EDIP? You can certainly. EDIP is only for first year undergraduates, whereas SDIP, you can apply for it even as a graduate. For example, the intern who joined last Wednesday's webinar, the webinar we had on Wednesday, she's currently studying currently doing a postgraduate, and she applied for she applied for SDIP and will be applying for, we'll be applying for Fast Stream next year. So yes, you can apply for it. So long as you're still studying, you can, whether you're in your final year or doing your postgrad, you can apply for SDIP. But EDIP is only for first year undergrads. So I hope that answers your question, Anisha. And so next question from Caden. How does the reimbursement of travel plans from outside London work? Good question, Caden. So for those of you guys, I mentioned earlier about the Insight Days at the Civil Service office. You would have seen this information in the Eventbrite page. So if you are traveling from outside London, the Civil Service will reimburse your travel. Again, I do not have information on how that's going to be done, but usually how the process works is you send in your proof of your receipt to show the proof of purchase, and the amount will then be reimbursed to you either directly to your bank or by check. But that will be made clearer nearer the time or after the event in terms of how your travel will be reimbursed. Again, reimbursement is only going to be for travels booked on a standard class ticket, unfortunately not first class. The time will come for you guys to start traveling first class. I'm still waiting for that moment myself, but yes, for now it's just for standard class that Civil Service are committed to cover, which I think is generous and kind of special for those traveling from outside London. And my suggestion would be to book your ticket like as early as possible, again, to reduce the cost. The earlier the better, or more affordable. So how does the reimbursement? So that's the Caden. So I hope that answers your question, Caden. And the next one from Femsic Bilbas is the question is the summer internship all expenses paid for? The summer diversity internship program is a paid, so is the early diversity internship program is paid expenses, but not for the summer diversity internship program, because that in essence you're getting paid is a paid internship program. So you're getting paid on a sort of monthly, weekly basis. Is a 6 to 9 weeks program. So expenses is not confirmed currently as well expenses paid for. So that's something that you'll need to make arrangements for your expenses. Again, you can use some of the money that you can cover your expenses with the money that you get paid with. So it's not correctly stated as expenses paid for the summer internship program. So I hope that answers your question, Famsic. And the next one from Vanessa, and the question is, hi, I took part in the SDIP last year. Can I reapply again this year? Very good question. I do not have the answer to that question, but I can double check. Well, I know you can apply for the Fast Stream program, Vanessa, but I will make a note of that to find out if you can still reapply for the SDIP program. I'm just making a note of that, Vanessa, so I'll find out from you. Can I reapply? That's a very good question, but I know you can apply for Fast Stream. Vanessa, if you don't mind, would you be happy to share for the benefit of those who are still online, to share your experience? If you are still online, Vanessa, would you be happy to share your experience being on the SDIP program last year? It'd be great to hear. So if you are still online, Vanessa, let me know. I can promote you to be a panelist. So let me know if you'd like to share your thoughts and experience. I think it'd be good for people to actually hear what it was like for you. If you let me know if you want to do so, and we can get you to promote your live to share your experience with the rest of the room. And next question from Anisha Kalia. If you've already graduated, I think we've already answered that question. Yes, if you've already graduated, can you still apply for SDIP? I think we've gone through that already. And the next one from Femsic again, is there a Facebook page for this program? Do you know what, Femsic? I'm so delighted you asked that, because I have been contemplating creating a Facebook group for everyone to join and invite everyone to join. So we have that as an ongoing interaction. And I think it also saves you guys receiving emails on a daily basis. So let me know. Can I just get everyone to write a comment to say if you think it's a good idea, if you like a Facebook group, if you think this would be useful to have a Facebook group where everyone can actually be a part of during the application process. Again, I think if you think it'd be useful, drop me a comment to say yes or no. So I think that's something I was actually contemplating a few days ago, and that would be a great idea. Caden says, okay, I have a thumbs up from Caden. And so guys, let me know. Yes, yes, yes. I'm getting yes, that'll be good. Okay, that's good. That's good to know. Yes. So on that note, we will be setting up a Facebook group so everyone can join. I think it would be a good way to support everyone as well, to support everyone, sort of like peer-to-peer support during the application process, because it can be quite, daunting and a lonely place sometimes. So that's good. So Vanessa, let me know if you would be happy to share your experiences. I'm going to move on to the next question now. Good, Femsic. I'm glad that you're on the same page, Femsic, about the Facebook group. Good suggestion as well. So Peter, this is a question for Peter. How diverse are the degree backgrounds among successful FastStream applicants? So Peter, by this, I'm assuming you mean, again, it varies. So, you have, from my understanding, you have candidates from politics to business to finance to economics to history to what else can I think of? To social research. So it varies in terms of the degree background, engineering as well. So it's very diverse from my understanding in terms of like degree backgrounds among successful FastStream applicants. And so again, what I would suggest, if you look at the FastStream brochure, it tells you what degree classifications or what the different sort of the breakdown. Let me see if I can actually find it. I've got the brochure next to me. So yeah, I suppose we're looking for pretty much all the streams except like the economics stream and engineering and so on. Most of them are a 2-1 or 2-2 in any degree subject. So again, it's quite diverse. So the key, yes, I hope that answers your question, Peter. So Imani Rose, a question from Imani Rose. The question is, hi, it seems that EDIP and SDIP have set durations. What is the duration for the FastStream program? Again, the FastStream program, depending on the stream that you are, it's depending on the stream that you are interested in. So generalist stream, for example, again, if you go on the faststream.gov.uk website, they're generally between 3 to 4 years. That's the duration of the FastStream programs, generally between 3 to 4 years. But what I would suggest is go on the faststream.gov. I'm going to type that up so everyone can see it. So that's www.faststream.gov.uk. So I'm just going to, as I said, go on that website, everyone, and look at the streams that you're interested in, and it will tell you what the duration of the streams that you are looking to apply for. So I hope that answers your question, Imani. So I have a question from, sorry, just trying to find them. So my Q&A for this is not working, taking my questions. You can type in your question here in the comment, in the chat section as well, if you're having difficulties using the Q&A button. So, and that's from, who's that from? Let me just see that. So Gary Ma, so if you're having difficulties, you can type in your question in this chat section there. So I'll be able to, so I ordered to apply for the Civil Service FastStream. Is it mandatory to be a UK national since I'm an Indian? Yeah. So so long as you have so that's a question from Garima, which is, in order to apply for the Civil Service FastStream, is it mandatory to be a UK national? So the question is, no, it's not mandatory. However, for some of the streams, it is mandatory to be a UK national. For example, the diplomatic services. So there's streams with more so in terms of like the nature of the role and the sensitivity to like security sensitivity of the stream. You have to be a UK national to apply for it. So for example, like the diplomatic services is any degree classification, but you must be a British citizen or a dual nationality, someone with a dual nationality. So either so if you're British Indian, for example, have an Indian citizen, or as well as a British citizen, you can apply. That may also apply. And also you must be a UK resident for 2 of the last 10 years, especially on the diplomatic service stream. So again, in addition to that, so long as you must also have the right to work in the UK in order to apply for the civil service, to apply for the program. So I hope that answers your question, Garima, but that's a really good question. So I'm going to go to the next one from Marianne Adu Aji. Apologies if I'm not pronouncing your name correctly, guys. Sincere apologies. So the question is, hi, thanks for a really informative session. Oh, thank you. I'm really I'm grateful to hear that you, pleased to hear you find it informative. I'm just finishing my master's degree in international relations. Am I still eligible? You are 100% still eligible, especially if you're going for the fast stream. You are definitely eligible to apply. And SDIP, you can also apply for the SDIP program, even though you're doing your master's. As I said, one of the SDIP intern who joined the webinar Wednesday is currently doing a postgrad degree and applied for the SDIP first before applying for the fast stream. So yes, you will still be eligible. So it's not just to undergrads, or it's not just to recent grad or graduates. You can be a postgrad as well. So I hope that answers your question, Marianne. So next question from Jamie Smith. I think I've come across your name before, Jamie. Good to see that you're joining again, because I like when people join more than once. So if you obtain a spot on the SDIP, does it mean that you cannot apply for the fast stream until the following year? So if you gain a spot in the SDIP, I suppose, yeah, you would need to do the SDIP and then apply for the fast stream the following year. But you can apply for both, as I said earlier, and you can apply for both. And if you're successful in both, then you choose which one you want to do. So I hope that answers your question, Jamie. Oh, Firmis. Oh, thank you, Firmis, for telling me how to pronounce your name. Thank you. I really appreciate it. Firmis. Good stuff. Thank you. So I've answered Garima's question already. So this is an anonymous attendee. So the question goes, hi, thanks for a great webinar. Thank you. I'm pleased to hear that. My question is there an application form component in the fast stream? Thanks, Ronnie. So is there an application form? So the application form is the online test. So it's an online test. They're not really tests, and there's no standard application form per se, but it's all online tests. And you will be sent the test in advance. So you have up to 7 days, I believe. I think on the diverse internship program, up to 7 days to complete the online test. Whereas for the fast stream, is a situational, behavioral, and judgment test. So again, I would say there is an application form, but it's more of an online test for the fast stream program. So I hope that answers your question, Ronnie. Pretty, there's a question from Pretty. So the question is, are there many fast stream roles available in the East Midlands? I cannot relocate to London. So again, what I suggest, Pretty, is about looking at the fast stream role that you're interested in, because some of them are London-based, some of them are UK-wide, and some of them are based in, Manchester, Newcastle, Newport, Liverpool, Edinburgh, Cardiff. So again, I would say, look at the stream you're interested in, Pretty, and then perhaps see the nearest civil service office that's closest to where you're based. I know there is a civil service office, one of the department offices in Nottingham. I believe Nottingham is the East Midlands. So that's an example of so it's worth bearing in mind. And some of them are also, overseas based as well. So it's about looking at the streams you're interested in and seeing where that is located. So I hope that helps. So, okay, that's a great idea. Fantastic. So next question is, I'm going to my second year of study, so can I apply for SDIP? You most certainly, that's a question from an anonymous attendee, you most certainly can apply for SDIP. So SDIP is open to candidates in the second year or third year, or if people even in the postgrad as well as a graduate. So you can apply for SDIP. So another question is, if I apply for both SDIP and FastStream program, would I have to go through the application process for both of them together? I know the application are different, the timing are different. So for example, with FastStream, you know, the assessment center obviously is as early, starting from October this year, end of October this year. And whereas for SDIP, if you are successful if you're successful with the first online test stage, the telephone interview isn't going to be until January, February next year. So it's quite spread out. So, you know, it's not at the same time. So they're quite well spread out. So I hope that answers your question, Garima. So Vanessa says she's happy to do that. Okay, Vanessa, okay, Vanessa, let me just quickly go through the questions quickly, Vanessa, and then I'll invite you to share your experiences quickly. Thanks for kindly volunteering to do that, Vanessa. So guys, Vanessa have kindly offered to share her experience on the SDIP program. You should have told me in advance. I would have. So Garima, I said you can apply. So the SDIP and FastStream, the timings are different. So SDIP, the telephone interview is in January, February next year, whereas the assessment center for FastStream is October, November, December this year. So it's quite spread. So it's not at the same time. So I don't think you'll be affected between the FastStream and the SDIP if you were to apply for both. So Vanessa, I'll come to you shortly. Just bear with me. Can you apply for EDIP if you are in the last year of your undergrad? So EDIP is for first year only, guys. EDIP is for first year undergraduates only. So in the civil service FastStream, you move between departments. How much do you have in terms of location, and to what extent are personal preference taken into account? For example, can you stay in the Southeast if your partner works in that region? Again, if you are successful, this is something that you can. That's a question from Sarah. That's a very good question, Sarah Hartley. Very good question. So you can express you can say, depending on the stream. Again, if you're applying for a diplomatic stream, expect it to be London-based and overseas-based as well. So it's about looking at the stream you're interested in and the location. And note to them that, you know, if you have a preference, again, I cannot guarantee that will be offered to you, but something that's worth noting, worth expressing if you are successful with your application. So again, it's about looking at the stream you are interested in and to ensure that it's within the region that you will be residing. And they do take consideration into, especially candidates with a physical disability as well. They do take that into consideration in terms of posting. So I hope that answers your question, Sarah. So how diverse is the ethnic, religious background of the successful FastStream applicants? I do not have access to this information, unfortunately, Matthias, but from my understanding, the civil service are keen to engage, they're keen to increase application and successful application from individuals from ethnic backgrounds in terms of like ethnic, both race and culturally and so on and so forth. And in terms of religion, I believe it's a diverse organization. They're keen to increase diversity. Hence, the name of the diversity internship program is called a diversity internship program. Again, also keen to increase applications from candidates from a low social demographic background, as well as candidates with disabilities, either physical or mental disability. Again, the civil service, from understanding, they're keen to increase the diversity, make the workforce more diverse. So I hope that answers your question, Matthias. Thank you very much. So we're coming close to Vanessa's joining the stream. And when does the application open for FastStream and SDIP? So if guys, the application officially for every program, the EDIP, SDIP, and FastStream, the application officially will open on the 14th of September. So that's when the application officially opened. And for SDIP, it'll close, SDIP and FastStream, it will close on the 25th of October. And for EDIP, it closes on the 8th of November. So I'm just going to answer Vanessa's question before inviting her on to the stream. Also, do we have access to resources to prepare for the E-Tray exercise? Also happy to share about my experience with SDIP. Fantastic. So Vanessa's question, we have resources to prepare for the E-Tray. There will be. So again, when you look at the stream that you're interested in, so if you go on the faststream.gov.uk website and you look at the stream that you're interested in, you will be able to, one second guys, you will be able to look through to see the practice E-Tray exercise question on there as well. So that's something for you something to bear in mind if you are applying for, depending on the stream, look at the stream you're applying for, go on the website, select your stream, and then scroll down at the bottom of the page. There's a link on there to practice the E-Tray exercise. So that's pretty much all the questions done. So I'm now going to invite Vanessa to share her experience on the SDIP program. Thanks again, Vanessa, for kindly offering to take part. I hope you're still online. And I think Vanessa's gone. No, she's not gone. She's still here. She should be joining soon. Vanessa, are you still there?
Yeah, I'm still here.
Oh, she's there. Fantastic.
Hi,
so guys, we have Vanessa who will be sharing her experience.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you. I believe everyone can hear you as well.
Hi, everyone. My connection is very bad, so I'll have to turn off the video and it'll be a bit clearer. Yeah.
Go for it. So how was it? When did you finish your SDIP program, Vanessa?
So it was around this time last year. I was working for the Department for Work and Pensions in the Work and Health unit. And I was there for 6 weeks in total, I think. So it's 6 to 9 weeks. I was there for 6 weeks.
Oh, fantastic.
Yeah.
And how would you describe your experience? How would you sum it up?
Yeah, it was a really great experience. I had a very good time there. It was very enjoyable. I met a lot of interesting people. And in general, I think I learned a lot in the time there, in the 6 weeks I spent there. It wasn't too kind of intimidating, which I think I was kind of hesitant about in the first place. So I wasn't too overwhelmed, and I felt like I was challenged enough. So it was a very good experience.
Okay. And you know how I said earlier that you get thrown into the deep end, like, you're basically given responsibility right from get go. Would you say that's reflective of your experience?
Yeah, definitely. They always want you to get stuck in, and they're very keen for you to try out different things as well. So they want you to be active and try to go to different departments, networking with people, with individuals you find interesting. So they're very encouraging in that way as well. Okay.
Yeah, because I think, one thing that obviously, this is maybe speaking for myself and my personal experience. Obviously, I graduated quite some time ago now. Used to, as a recent grad or an undergrad, you tend to, there's this perception that oh wow, these organizations are so massive, or you tend to sort of like put them on a pedestal and put yourself so like quite low in terms of like, would anyone take it seriously? But one thing I realized with global organizations, they look, the reason why they hire and bring in new talents yearly, because they want ideas and things to actually. They need the fresh ideas and insights to actually improve what they do. Is that correct?
Yeah, definitely. I went to a few talks while I was there, and they are very keen to find new talent. That's often how they describe it. So they are looking for people with new ideas, with new ways of seeing things. So, I mean, yeah, they're very welcoming for diverse opinions, people from diverse backgrounds, which I was very impressed with.
Fantastic. So what would your advice be to everyone, as well as people who will be applying for the fast stream? What would your advice be from your own personal experience?
Well, definitely give it a go. Don't feel hesitant or intimidated by the process. Definitely just give it a go and hope for the best. And if you are successful in going through, it's going to be a very, very positive experience. I didn't really hear anybody that was on the SDIP with have any negative things to say, because the experience is what you make of it, and there's a lot of opportunity there. A lot of challenges and a lot of things for you to be interested in. So yeah, definitely give it a go.
Fantastic. So talking of processes, what was the application process like? So I've heard from different, some say they find it daunting, and people have different experience of it. How would you describe it for you, when you did it? I know that it's changed slightly now for SDIP and EDIP in particular, but how would you describe that for the process?
Well, it is slightly daunting. I think it's the length of time that's the most daunting part. I think people just they give up because of the length of time the application process is. But if you stick with it, it's not too difficult. You've probably done more difficult tests through your university life anyway. It's just a matter of managing your time and trying to get to the end of the application process, I'd say.
Okay, and what would your top tip be when it comes to managing time? What do you do to manage your time? What advice or top tip would you give on that?
Just make sure you're aware of the deadlines. Don't let them slip away, and don't procrastinate. Just try and get the assessments done as soon as possible, and then kind of take it out of your mind, because otherwise you can get bogged down with other university work. So just pay attention to when the deadlines are approaching.
Okay, and that's a very good point actually, because the SDIP intern who joined the webinar on Wednesday, she said one of the reasons why she was unsuccessful with the fast stream application was because of leaving the deadline, the video interview so late. So again, that's something that it's good that you've mentioned that in terms of like, keeping on top of deadlines and not leaving things to the last minute.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay, no, this is good. You should have told me you did this. I could have invited you from the beginning when we had more people here, so you can actually, yeah. Would you be happy though to volunteer as like mentoring other people, SDIPers, if we were to, because we're thinking of pairing people up with so if someone's applying for the SDIP, would you be, or EDIP, would you be happy to volunteer to mentor other people with their application?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, definitely.
Fantastic. So guys, you heard it here first. Vanessa has offered her time to mentor. So yeah, guys, grab it whilst you can now. Yeah, no, fantastic. Any final thoughts? Anything else you would like to share? Anything that perhaps just what you think might be?
I think you briefly mentioned the Fast Pass. I don't know if that's still in operation.
Okay.
Yeah, but that's a very good part of the SDIP as well. So if you're successful with the Fast Pass, you get to skip a few stages of the application for the Fast Stream, which are, some people kind of point out as the hardest stages of the Fast Stream application process. So if you can be successful on the SDIP, it really puts you in a good position for the Fast Stream if you want to do that later on as well. Because I was actually successful for the Fast Pass, but because I took another year of study, I wasn't able to apply this year round. So yeah, that's the only thing that kind of kept me back. But it was a very useful thing to have. Oh,
congratulations! I was about to ask that actually. That's really good to hear that you got the Fast Pass. Does that mean that the Fast Pass is no longer eligible for you when you apply this year then?
Yeah, I'm not eligible for the Fast Pass now.
Oh, so if you're applying directly, that's when it becomes.
Yeah, I think it's only for the year. Otherwise, you're in the next cohort, something like that.
Oh, that's a shame. But at least the experience you've had will be useful in itself.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Well, Vanessa, guys, actually, before we move on, would you mind if anyone has any question to ask you, Vanessa, if that's okay?
Yeah, sure.
Guys, if you have any questions for Vanessa, please type it up, and Vanessa, you should be able to see the question. If you go on if you have any questions for Vanessa, we have about 5 minutes or so. So feel free to send in your question. Vanessa, if you just click on the Q&A button, you should be able to see the questions.
Yeah. Okay. So from Garima, what happens if I get successful with both SDIP and Fast Stream?
I mean, I can add to that. So if you're successful with both, I suppose it's about making a choice which one you want to go for. I mean,
yeah, because the SDIP is only 6 weeks long. The Fast Stream is, I think, is at least 4 years.
Yes,
or
that's
different. Depends on the scheme. But I guess it's down to personal preference. I think most people would opt for the Fast Stream.
Yeah. So obviously, if you're successful both, it makes sense to just go to the Fast Stream directly.
Yeah.
Yeah. Good stuff. Any other questions for Vanessa, guys? We have chance for we have room for one or two more questions, if that's okay. If not, we will.
Okay, one more.
Okay.
Oh, so can I do, from Garima again, so can I do SDIP and then Fast Stream in the following year?
Yep.
Yeah, so definitely, yeah.
Yes, obviously you need to apply, as Vanessa said. If you do get the Fast Pass, then you'll be exempted from the application stage and go straight to the assessment center. So the answer is yes to that, Garima.
Okay, Zainab is asking, what do you think were your best qualities? Oh, yeah. What do you think were your best qualities that got you through to SDIP? It's hard to say. I think being a good communicator. I think if you can express yourself clearly, then that puts you in a very good position. From what I could tell, I think for the most part, people really had similar ideas and similar things to say. The people that stood out were the ones that could articulate themselves the best, were confident, and I think, like you mentioned as well, people that were most natural and authentic, especially in the assessment center. So I think that's what stands out. Yeah. Okay.
Fantastic. Any one final one, just one more, guys. Anyone, feel free. You have this chance now, guys. Use it. You know, Vanessa has kindly offered to.
Thanks for sharing your experience. Okay, thank you.
That's what I love about stuff like this. You know, it's just about everyone educating and helping and supporting each other.
Yeah.
Really. So, guys, if no final question, we will move on. Again, like I said, Vanessa's kindly offered. So again, we're looking to. And so there's one from say to Vanessa, not a question, but thanks for sharing your experience. Oh, that's nice.
Yeah, thank you.
That's the thanks for you again, Vanessa. That's, they're loving it. Good, good, good. Guys, again, that shows again, that's about, you know, being able to like just responding to unprepared, wasn't expecting it. You know, it goes to show like, you know, it goes to show more about your quality as a person as well. So that's really good. Yeah, well done. So guys, I think this brings us to the end of the webinar officially. It is now coming up to quarter to 4, so 15:45. I just want to say a massive thank you to everyone who is still online, and a massive thank you to everyone who joined today's webinar. And I hope from the response so far, it sounds like you guys have found it useful, you found it informative. I can't even say that word. You found it useful, guys. So I'm really pleased. So the feedback so has been really positive. So I'm really pleased. So again, just a quick recap. If you are, so there's the EDIP, SDIP, and the Fast Stream program. That, you know, again, we have a number of programs coming up. So on the 8th of September, which is next Friday, from 6 to 8:30 p.m., we will be having the evening with the Fast Stream and interns. So that's a chance for you to get to meet with them in person and also network. That's going to be held at the Elevation Networks London office. And on the 20th of September, we'll be having the EDIP and SDIP Insight Day at the Civil Service office in London. And on the 21st will be the Insight Day for the Fast Streamers. So if you haven't booked your ticket yet, guys, please book your ticket in advance. We have limited spaces, unfortunately, so it'll be on a first come first served basis. So book your tickets as soon as possible. And guys, again, as Vanessa said, you know, go for it. Don't be hesitant. Just go for it. You have nothing to lose. We're here to support you. And I will be creating that Facebook group and we're sharing that with everyone so you guys can all join. And let's work together. Let's support each other. Let's be collaborative. This will be a great chance to actually, who knows, you can actually demonstrate if you make it to the assessment. They say, you know, by being collaborative in the Facebook group to actually demonstrate ways you actually worked with other people during your pre-application stage. So we're all learning, we're all growing. We're here to support you. So thanks again, guys. And a special thank you to Vanessa for kindly you know, offering her time to share her experience on the SDIP program. So guys, thank you ever so much. Look forward to meeting you all in person, hopefully meeting everyone in person, and looking forward to receiving, you know, working with you during this process and ensuring that you have a successful application process for the Civil Service Fast Stream and Diversity Internship Program. Again, my name is Oris Ikomi, and I've been, you know, I've loved every minute of the webinar so far, and looking forward to working with you again. Thanks ever so much, guys. Bye for now. Thanks, Vanessa.